Hiya. So the first lesson learned. Now, my first interview, when I started to search for another job, because my other job was kind of a contract, so it was coming to an end, and I needed to move on to permanent. Now, the first interview I did was with Made Tech. With Made Tech, they had two stages of an interview of the interviews. It was in two stages. Now, the first stage I did is more about, tell me about yourself, what's your current role, what are the current projects you're working on. I think they also ask about, there wasn't really a star based question, like scenario based question that you have to use your star approach. So it was more of, tell me about yourself. And I said, I explained in some of my video already in the past about when they say tell me about yourself, they want to know what you are doing currently, what you've done in the past, and what you're trying to achieve in the future. Tell me why you want to work for this organization. That's it. And then they'll ask you some basic business analyst question. What tools have you used? What approach would you use to gathering your requirement? How would you do your gaps analysis? These are just the basic question. What templates would you use? What are the lessons? How have you shared lessons learned with your colleagues? These were the basic questions they ask. Now, based on your CV, in my first interview, the CV was there in front of them, so they were asking questions based on the information on your CV. Yeah. Now, what are the lessons learned with that? The first stage of the interview was successful, I would say. They told me I passed the first stage. But what was the lesson learned was that you need to study your CV. What you've put out there is that's what they will use to ask you the questions. So if they say, tell me about yourself, and what you're saying does not correspond with your CV, you are in trouble. Just know that. So before you go for the interview, or while you've submitted CVs, sometimes we do modify our CV based on the job we're applying for. So before you go for an interview, when they said so you're successful at this stage to go for attend an interview, go through the CV that you have submitted for that role. Go through that CV, because most of the questions is coming from your own CV. That's one thing. Now, tell me about yourself. The also lessons that you have to learn is this: you talk about project. They don't want to know what's your name, because they've got your name already there. Whether I've got two keys, they don't want to know. They want to know about the project you've worked on, the tools you've used, your experience you have, and these things that you're saying still have to correspond with what you've put on your CV. So if you spoke about so many tools that you've used and it's not written on your CV, they'll be wondering why. And then if you also vice versa, like you say many things without saying certain skills that you have put down on your CV, you also be asked why. So as I said, make sure your CV, you go through it before you attend the interview. That's one lesson learned. The stage 2, I passed the first stage, as I said. Now that I was then invited for the stage 2, that before anything on the first stage, even if you passed it, you can also ask for feedback. Is there anything that I did well? Is there anything I did not do well? What do you think I did well? On the email, you can email back and say, can you let me know what I did well and what I need to improve on? Yeah. Now, the other stage 2, it was scenario based question, and this was my first ever interview. As I said, it was my first ever interview, like I said, when I started looking for a new role. Now, the scenario based questions was 45 minutes competency based interview questions about client focus, experience with agile practices, requirement gathering, learning and mentoring, contribution to a community of practice, integration into delivery teams, and presenting the value of business analysts. Now, these were the scenario based question the question will be based on this approach. I will screenshot that and post it there later on. But these questions, time management as well. Time management is also one thing they want to check. So when I was giving these questions, or when I started the interview, I was answering the answer. I was giving answers to the questions. But the lesson learned that it was that there was a question. Now, this is a long time ago. I can't really remember carefully. But the question was relating to testing. But I did not understand the question. So I was giving an answer based on something I thought it was. So the lesson learned is this: if they ask you a question that you do not understand, ask them again, can you please repeat the question, or can you say the question in another way? Because you don't tell them that you do not understand the question, but you ask intelligently so that you understand the question clearly. Because I didn't understand that question and I was answering it in the wrong way. Yeah, I was answering it in the wrong way. So that was one lesson learned. And when they say star approach, make sure you follow that thing. You make sure you give a situation, the task, the action and the result on time management. Don't go around the box. Yes, so yeah, that's lesson learned number 1 from this first interview I did. Let me know in the comment section if you think there's something else that you need to hear from it, or you need more videos. Thank you.